So we'll be working with the home screen right now, and this is the design we'll be creating. And we'll be using some set of libraries for this. And the most important one is this carousel, as well as the API fetching of these individual movies categories. So to get started with that, we're going to be saying this view in the home screen as a class name, and the class name is flex of one. And also we're going to be saying we want an image here. We're going to import the image like this. We're going to be saying the source of the image. It's going to be require. We're going to put this right here just for now. And if you click on explore, you should see that right away. And also, we don't want to keep going back to the previous screen every time we're working on this home screen. So we're just going to head back to our navigation, app navigation, inside of navigation index.js. And we're going to change this from welcome to home and save it. So whenever we're working on the home screen, we're not going to be taken back to the previous screen. And yes, so after this, we're going to see, this is not the image we're going to be using, but let's just put that for now. We're going to be saying the style is going to be position of absolute. The width is going to be 100%. Height as well is going to be 100%. And also we're going to be saying the resize mode, it's going to be cover. Let's save that, and great. So after this, we're going to be saying we want a scroll view inside of this. We want a scroll view. We're just going to import that real quick so it doesn't throw an error. Not this. Okay, it seems it has been imported right here. So inside of this scroll view, we're going to be saying we want the status bar to be light, to have a style of light, as you can see right here. And after this, we want to have the welcome title. And after this, we're going to say we want a view. And inside of this view, we're going to have several things. And the first one is going to be class name of flex of row, justify between, items of center, margin horizontal of 4 and margin bottom of 4 as well. So as you can see here, our home screen. And also, let's just put this right here so we can see what we're working with. And you can see it right here. So after this, we're going to be saying we also want to have a view inside of this. And this view class name is going to be a border of 2, border white, rounded or full, overflow of hidden. This is where we're going to have our avatar. And we're going to say image. And the first thing that is most important here is the source of the image. The source of the image. And we're going to say require. Let's just put welcome for now. Save that, and you should see it here. And while we're moving on, I want us to use the right image so that we don't keep coming back and fixing the image. So I'm just going to import some set of image inside this image folder here. So I've imported some images right here. We have the home screen 1, home screen 2, movie poster 1, and avatar as well. So yeah, we're going to say this is going to change to avatar.png. And in a minute, you should see the lady's picture right here. So we're going to give it some styling. And the most important styling we're going to have, it's going to be a width. And the width is going to be 45. Also height. The height is going to be 45 as well. And also the resize mode, it's going to be cover. And also before we move ahead, I want to have a class name here. And this is going to say margin top of 16. And after this image, we're going to have the notification and search icon. And after this, we're going to be having view. And inside of this view, we're going to say the class name that will sit right here is going to be flex of row, space x of 4. And inside of this, we're going to be having some set of icons. And the icon we're going to be using is React Native Hero icons. And you can just see it right here, React Native Hero icons. We're just going to copy this, head back to our terminal, bring up our terminal. And inside of this, we're going to paste this right here. We're just going to collab this so that everything looks really neat. So when this is getting ready, we're just going to head back to our code and say we're going to be using a bell icon here. And we save that. If you try and error here that the bell icon is not available. So we're just going to let this install pretty quick. So this has been installed. We're just going to bring this back down. So to import this bell icon, we're just going to head back to our code and say import bell icon from React native hero icon / outline. Save that, and our icon should show in a minute. So just give it a moment. And also we're going to be bringing in another icon here called magnifying glass icon, and that should fix it right away. So if this is showing any error, all we have to do is just restart or reload our app. We're just going to reload it because we just installed a package or library, and that might be what is throwing that error. It says you can't find this. Well, all you have to do is just stop our server and just start it again. So after we reload, we're back into our code, and we're just going to bring this down. I will continue with our styling of our icon. And the first prop that this is going to take is the size. We're going to say this is 30. Also, the stroke width, we want that to be 2. Also, the color, we want it to be a color of white. We're going to save that. And you should see that right away. We're going to remove this text because it is not serving the purpose we want. So you can see that sitting pretty quick here. Also, we're going to be having a touchable opacity right here. And inside of this touchable opacity, we're going to have the magnifying glass icon, which we just used here. And we're just going to copy these same properties as well. Save that. And this should work without any issue. Touchable opacity, we're just going to import it as well. Save that. Also, we're going to, and you can see that sitting right there. Although that's not the exact one that I want to use, I'm just going to remove this circle here and just import this and also delete the first one. So the icon we're using is bell icon and magnifying glass icon, and you can see both here. So whenever we select this or click on this, it's going to take us to the search screen. And in the touchable opacity, the best place to do that is say on press. And inside of this, I'm going to say create an arrow function. I say navigation dot navigate. This is dot navigate. We're going to navigate to our search screen, and we're going to save that way. I don't think we import our navigation. Let's just check first. We've not. So we're going to say import use navigation from this React navigation native, and also create a variable here called navigation and assign this method to it. So this code shouldn't have any issue. Moving on, we're going to give our code the next styling, and let's just see if this works. So we're just going to click this, and it takes us to the search screen. As you can see here, in our home, select this, it takes us to the search screen. That is what we want. So while we continue with our design, we want to create these cards next. So to do that, we're going to say these are the movie cards. And also we're going to say the first one is going to be trending movies. We're just going to have that like that. We don't have it currently in our file. So we're going to head back to our source. Inside our components, we're going to create another folder called trending movie. And inside of this, we're going to create an index.js file. We're going to call this React Native Functional Components. Save that and call this trending movies. We made a mistake here. We're going to change this to text. And we'll call this trending. Save that. Head back to your, close this welcome screen. Go to your home screen and import this right away. You should see your trending card now, as you can see it right here. So after importing trending movies, we're going to collapse these and continue working on our home screen. So the first thing you have to make sure that this component doesn't sit on the same line with this. So all we have to do is just create a view or bring this outside of this. So that should fix it. If it doesn't, then all we need to do is just, yeah, that fix it. So inside of this, let's just have a class name to be of white, text of white. Save that, and you should see that in a moment. And inside of these trending movies, that is where we're going to be creating these individual cards. And the first thing we're going to be doing is making sure that we have the API ready for this so that we can populate the results as it's coming. And the first thing we have to do is head back to our browser, go to this website, which is called themoviedb.org, and register as a user. Once you register, you'll be able to use the API to fetch all these awesome movies and so on. So to get your API, that's the most important thing we're going to work on first, because to access all these movies, you need to be registered one, and also you need an API. So to get your API, you're going to click this and select settings. And here you're going to see API. And under API, you're going to see your API key. So we're going to copy this. We're going to head back to our code. And inside of our movie cinema, we're going to create another folder called utils. And inside of this utils, we're going to be creating a file called API key.js. We're going to have that there. And inside of this, we're going to be creating a variable, but also exporting the variable. And let's say movie API key is equal to this. So the API that we just copied, which is this, we're going to put that right here. And also, and inside of this, we're going to create another folder. We're going to be calling this movies API.js. And inside of this, we're going to import some things. We're going to say import our, what do we call it, movie API key from just this single part, which is this. Also, we're going to be using some set of tools to fetch our data. And if you head back to this website, which is where we're fetching our movie, and if you go to more and API, inside of this, you're going to go to API reference. And the first movie we're fetching, as you can see here, is the trending movie. So if you check on the sidebar here and you scroll up, you scroll down to trending, and under trending, you see movies. And in the movies, you're going to be seeing this language that we're going to be using to fetch our data. We're going to be working with JavaScript because that's what we are working with. Also, we're going to not be using the default fetch. We're going to be using Axios to fetch our data, and this is how to fetch this trending movie. And you're going to import Axios. You're going to set the options and also set the request as well. So to get started with that, we're going to head back to our code, and we're going to say import Axios from Axios. And after that, make sure that you install Axios, and you can check your package.json if you have Axios installed already. So we're just going to close that. And if you want to install Axios, you can just head to the npm package manager and just install Axios. So, and after this, we're going to create some endpoints. So under this endpoint, you're going to create some set of variables. You're going to call these API base URL. And you're going to put these, let's head back to our movie API, and you're going to put this starting from the 3, copy everything here. So basically, we're going to put this here because this is going to be the same for all the kind of movies that we're pulling. So in this case, we're pulling the trending movies. In some cases, we're going to be pulling the popular movies and the trending movies and so on. But for now, we're going to be working with these trending movies. And after this, we are going to create a variable called trending movies endpoint. And we're going to say this is going to be backticks. This is not double quote, but backticks. And also, you're going to assign this API base to it. So the way to do that is just say $sign, and also we're going to call this API base URL. And after this, to pull this specific kind of trending movies, head back to our documentation. We're just going to copy this to 3, or we're just going to paste that after that. Once you paste that, the next thing you have to do is just put a query here by saying a question mark and say the key. It is going to be equal to $sign, and we're going to say movie API key. Save that and continue working on your code. After that is ready, we're also going to be creating a function called API calls to get movies. We're going to say this one is a constant of movie API call. Let's make it camel case. And we're going to say this is async. And also create an arrow function here. And inside of this, we're going to be using 2 parameters. The first one is endpoint, which we just created here. So each of these is going to go inside of this as the properties, and also the parameters. The parameters is just in case you want to search for a specific kind of movie, or want to go to a specific kind of movie when we click it. That is the use case of these params. So we're going to say const options is going to be like we have here. So everything that we have here, method, URL, params, headers, and co, we're going to have it here as well. And we're going to say method is going to be a get. The URL in lowercase is going to be this endpoint. And also, we're going to be saying the params is going to be, if params is true, let's use a ternary operator here and say assign this, and if params is true, set params, else set it to an empty object. So moving on, we're also going to be trying and also catching errors, and we're just going to say, and inside of this catch, we're going to say console.log the error and also return an empty object. Also, inside of this try, we're going to say create a variable called response, just like this. So Copilot help us in creating this really quick. And to be able to use this movie API and also the endpoint, we're going to say comment this out to be home screen APIs. We're going to say export const of fetch trending movies, and also assign it to an arrow function, and return the movie API with the trending movies as the endpoint or the parameters. So if we save that, we should be able to use this function to fetch all the movies we're seeing right here, and the same as all the movies in the trending movies. Because here, if we say try it, like this, try this and fetch the movies, you can see a lot of movies that we have here. So that's the same thing that this function is going to do for us. So in the home screen, this is where we're going to use the function we just created. But before we do that, you need to be able to install React query first. So that's the first thing we'll be doing, which is this tiny stack query, which is also React query. We're just going to copy this and install this. In my own case, I've installed it, and in my package.json, you can see it right here, tiny stack React query. And if you close this, head back to your home screen. The first thing you have to do in this app.js is, according to the documentation, wrap it around something. So if you go to quick start, we are going to see that we wrap our app inside a query client provider. So what I'm just going to do is copy this, head back to our code, even though we don't need all this, but let's just copy it for now. And we're also going to copy this. We're going to put this inside of this, and inside of this, we're going to put this. We're going to save it just like that. But we can't use, we don't have the query client defined yet. We're just going to say const query client is assigned to query client method that we have here. So all these three, we don't need it. This is the only thing that we need. So we're back to our home screen. We're also going to be importing. Let's just import this once again into our home screen. We're going to paste this right here. We're going to say inside of this, and the only thing we'll be using here is going to be use query. So we're going to remove all of this. We're going to save that. And this use query is what we're going to use to fetch our data based on the function that we created here. So we go back to our home screen. Before we use this use query, we're going to create some state first. And the first state we're going to say is const. We're going to assign this to use state. And this is going to be an empty array just like this. And we're going to say this is trending and this is set trending. Save that. And now we can now use our use query, which we just defined here. So we're going to say const. We're going to open the curly braces and also we're going to assign it to use query that we bring here. Also, it is going to be a method and also a curly braces. This is going to take a lot of things and I'm going to be walking you through one by one. It says use state doesn't exist. We're going to bring it in right here. So inside of this, we're going to say the query key. It's going to be called an array of trending movies, but it has to be a string. It has to be a string. And this is a unique key for this particular fetch in case we want to update it later. And also we're going to be having a query fn, and this is where our fetch trending movie is going to be called. Let's just try and import that. It doesn't say it. What do we call it right here? It says fetch trending movie. Okay. So head back to our home screen. We'll rename this to fetch trending movie and we're going to import it right here. So what we just created here, this function is what we imported right here. So after this, we're going to say on sources, that is if you get the results, good. Then we're going to say the data that you get, set it to set trending and it is going to be data.result. And after this, we're going to say on error, that is if there is any error, we're just going to say console.log. And before this, we're going to say a string, and this must show the specific error and where we are getting the specific error. So this is going to be error fetching trending movies. So if we save that, and this should work right away. And inside of this, we're just going to destructure something. We're going to say if it's loading, rename it to is trending movie. We save that. Is trending loading. Save that. So what we just did right here is say create a const, okay, and this is loading, which comes normally with the use query method. You're going to rename this is loading to is trending loading, okay, and we're going to assign it to the use query method we are bringing in from React query, and it is going to take in some things by default, and one of it is query key, which is just this unique key to identify the data we're fetching, and the query function, which is this fetch trending movie, which we're bringing in from here. Also, we're going to say on sources, get the data and set the data.results to set trending that we have here. So what we have to do is just say console.log. We're going to say trending is going to be a destructure on trending movies, but this will not be here. So if we save that, you should see our movies right here. As you can see, all our movies is displayed right here. So all we have to do is just use all this data here to populate whatever we have here. So moving on, we're going to say, just remove this for a while and continue with our code. So this trending, which we have here, we're going to assign it as a prop here. So we're going to say data is going to be trending. So inside of our trending movies, we're going to destructure this data here that we're getting. Let's just close. Okay, let's leave this for a while and let's just close this app and make everything clean for a minute. So inside of this trending movie, we're going to be using this data to populate all the results. So the first thing we have to do is say import use navigation from React Navigation native. Also, we're going to say create a constant of navigation and assign it to use navigation method. Also, we're going to create some set of things here, but let's just style it first. So inside of this view, we're going to say it has a class name, and this class name is going to be margin top of 2, margin bottom of 4. And we're not going to be having a text here, we'll be having a view. And inside of this view, we're going to say the class name is going to be flex of row, justify of between. And inside, we're going to have a text. And this text is going to say trending movie. And after that, we're going to say this text as a class name, and the class name is going to be called text of white, also text of large, also font bold, margin horizontal of 4, and also margin bottom of 4. When that is ready, we're going to move on to creating these carousels that we have here. This is a package and we're going to install it right away. So under this is where we're going to have our carousel, which is going to be displaying all these movie images in a carousel way. So the package for that is going to be React Native Snap Carousel. We're going to copy this, head back to our terminal, go to the next terminal. I don't want to do this. Paste this code right here and click on enter. So when this finishes installing, we're just going to use it in our code by saying import carousel from React Native Snap Carousel. And here we can be able to use this carousel. So we're going to say carousel is going to be a self-closing tag, and it takes in some props. So the first one is called data. We're going to assign it to the data that we're bringing in from here. And also, we're going to say, but before we continue with this, as you can see, some of these errors are quite stubborn. We're going to head back to our home screen. And before we even assign the trending movies to the data, we're going to create something first. So inside of this, we're going to say if is trending loading is true, that is, if the data is still loading, you're going to show loading, else you're going to show something else. But also that else is going to be showing some scroll view, and the scroll view is going to have some set of properties inside. So inside of this, we're going to say if trending.length is greater than 0, that is the data we are getting. If it is greater than 0, let's just pass this right here. If this is greater than 0, then that is when you're going to render this component. And it says the loading doesn't exist. And if it doesn't show, that doesn't mean we don't have to create it. We still need to create it. So inside of our component, we're going to say loading. And this loading is going to be index.js. We're just going to create a boilerplate code here and say this is called loading. And here we're going to be using the activity indicator. We're going to be saying the size is going to be large, and also the color is going to be black. Let's just use that, or use white instead for a minute. So we head back to our home screen. We're going to import these pretty quick. Let's just check our loading once again if everything okay. We're just going to say loading, save that, home screen. Then we're going to import these right here. So we save that, you shouldn't see any error here. So what we basically did is just say if trending is true, which is coming from the query that we have here. If it is true, then just show data is still loading, which is this loading, which it shows here. And also else, just show our trending movies, and we are good to go. So let's go back to our trending movie and continue adding the other props for this. So the next prop we're going to add after this is called render item. And this render item is going to be an arrow function. And also we're going to add a curly braces behind this, and also add a cycle as well as the structuring here. This is showing an error which we don't want. Okay, moving on, we're just going to add an item here. Also, we're going to say this is not supposed to be here. Save that, and the error should disappear. And the only thing we have to add is just add the movie card, which is the individual cards that we're going to be using, which are these individual cards. So, and we don't have that created yet. We're just going to go to our components. We're just going to create a new file called movie card.js. We're just going to create a boiler code here. Head back to our trending movie, import this, and save that. And the other props this is going to be taken is first item is going to be 1. And after this, we're going to say inactive slide scale is going to be 0.86. Also, inactive slide opacity is going to be 0.6. Also, slider width is going to be coming from width. We don't have this width created yet. We're going to create it in a minute. The next properties we're going to have here is going to be item width, which is the individual item. And we're going to say it is going to be width multiplied by 0.8. Also, we're going to say the slide style is going to be width. No, not this. We want to have display to be flex. Also, align items to be center. So next thing we're going to do is have this width here. We're going to create a variable. So we're going to create a variable called width, and we're going to destructure the width we are getting from this dimensions method. We're going to import this from React Native. We're going to save that. And in a minute, we should be able to see our card here once we just start our movie card. So the next thing we're going to do is assign these item props inside of this. And we're going to say item is going to be item. And after that, we're going to say undo click is going to be undo click. And these props, we have to bring it inside of this movie card. Let's just highlight this back. And inside of this, we're going to continue starting our code. The first thing we're going to do here is say, bring the same width that we used just now. Import this from React Native. Call this height. We're going to be using the width and height from the dimensions method. Also, we're going to be saying, in this return statement, the first thing we want to have here is going to be a touchable without feedback. And also inside of this, we're going to be having an image. We're going to import that. Once that is ready, we're going to use the other props for the image. And the first prop we're going to say is require. Let's just use movie poster 1 and save that. We should be able to see that right now. And after this, we're going to say style is going to be width. And the width is going to be using this specific width multiplied by 0.8. Save that. Also, we're going to say the height is going to be height multiplied by 2.5. And also the resize mode is going to be cover, and class name is going to be rounded 3XL. And inside of this touchable without feedback, we're going to have an onPress. And this onPress is going to have an arrow function. And this is going to say undo click. And we're going to say item. Save that. And after doing this, if you still don't see your image, you can as well just check your terminal and see if the errors you're getting. Okay, so we are getting an error of view props type to be removed from React Native, yada yada yada. Well, that error is coming from one of the package that we're using, which is basically React Native Snap Carousel. So in my findings, I realized that this version has a problem, and the best way to do that is just uninstall it first. So we're going to say npm or check our code here and say npm uninstall React Native Snap Carousel. I know what you're thinking, that we're not going to be using the Snap Carousel, but yes, we will. We just want to install a specific React Native Snap Carousel version. So we're just going to let this uninstall. So once this uninstall, we're going to install it again. So we're going to say npm I at, but you need to use a specific version, which is coming from this. So this is the version we'll be installing, which is 4.0.0-beta.6. So we're going to click that, and it's going to install this version for us. This version doesn't have error as far as I know, and that will solve our image not showing here. So that has been installed, as you can see it right here. So if you go back to our app and just reload. So after reload, we're going to bring this down and go back to our code and check once again to see everything is working properly as it should. We're getting the training here. We are setting it here. And if you console.log this, let's just bring in our terminal and console.log this, you should be able to see our trending movies here. So if you reload, so we're just going to bring this up and see our console.log here. So give it a moment, and you can see our log right here, our trending movies, and we're just going to bring this down. And if that still doesn't work, we have to make sure that in our movie card, we're not just using this dummy image, we are using the right image coming from the item. So to do that, normally we're supposed to just assign our image URL. As you can see in the console.log, you have this backdrop part. You're just going to use this, but you can't use it directly without using the base URL. So we're going to head back to our API and we to use movie APIs. And also we're going to say under this, we're going to be saying functions to get images of different sizes and weights. So the first thing we're going to say is say export const image 500, and we're going to be having, and inside of this we're going to say poster path, and we're going to assign this to an arrow function, and inside of this we're going to have a ternary operator saying if the poster path is true, then you're going to use https colon slash slash image dot tmdb dot org slash t slash p slash weight of 500, and we're going to add that to the poster part prop, which is set here, or parameters rather, else we're just going to say no. So this function, we cannot use it in our movie card, and say instead of this default part that we have here, we're going to say URI is going to be assigned to image 500. Also, we're going to pass item.poster.underscore path as the path for the image. And if we save that, let's just make sure that everything is working properly. We're just going to console.log the movie image. We're going to say item.poster path. Save that. And let's check if that works. There's a lot of error. By the way, let's just refresh or reload our app and see if that works. You're not getting anything. So after saying that, we're going to head back to our code, and it is still not showing any console.log. Let's go back to our home screen and check here. It seems to have an issue here. This is supposed to be length. Oh, my bad. Save it, and you see everything populates here. It says undo click doesn't exist. So we'll go back into our trending movie, and when we're using our undo click, we're just going to set a function here saying undo click is going to be this, and once that is fixed, you can see all our images right here. So you should expect that our image should show. So after setting this function, we want this to be just movie, and our image still doesn't show. Let's just head back to our movie API and see if everything works here. So this is supposed to be org.org. Change that, save that, and you should see our image showing one by one. Good. Our image is shown, and you can see all the trending movies for the day. So next thing we're going to do is go back to our home screen and set this to be home screen 1.png. Save that, and this background image should change right away. And you can see this looks just like what we have. So the next thing we're going to do is continue with our other cards right here and show the popular movies and all. So we head back to our movie API, and we're going to duplicate this. We're going to call this popular movies endpoints, and also we're going to remove this in its entirety, and we're going to say this is movie popular, and also just like this, we're also going to be getting the upcoming movies, endpoint, and this is going to be movie slash not popular but upcoming. And we still need to duplicate these. We're just going to say this is top rated movies endpoint, and we're going to say movie slash top underscore rated. Save that. Also, we're going to say we're going to be using the genres endpoint. We're going to say everything here is going to be genre slash movie slash lists and remaining like this. And don't forget to create the function as well. This is going to be fetch popular movie and assign movie API call to popular movies endpoint. The next thing we're going to say is fetch upcoming movie. Next one is going to be fetch top rated movie. And the last one is going to be fetch genre. Fetch genres and movie API assigned to genres endpoint. So if we head back to our code, go to your home screen, we're just going to duplicate this. And after duplicating this, we're just going to set this to is top rated loading. Then we're going to fetch top rated movie. Also, we're going to set not trending, but top rated, which we've not created yet. And we're going to say this is going to be error fetching top rated movies. And we're just going to say create the state called top rated and set top rated to that. Good. And this key here has to be unique as well. We're going to say top rated movies, save that, and this should be ready. So let's just assign the next card here, which is top rated. So we're going to head back to our code, and here we're going to say the same thing that you have here. Why not duplicate that? Call this trending movies, and also why not call these top rated movies? But we don't want this to be like this. We're going to say if top rated length is greater than 0, then you're going to show the top rated movies and assign the data to be top rated. Let's just check our code once again and see. It says top rated movies doesn't exist. That's because we've not created the folder yet. So we just go to our component. Inside our component, we're going to say create a new file called top rated movies.js. Create a functional component, save that, go to your home screen and import this folder here, and you should see it here, right here. By the way, so the next component we're going to create here is going to be an upcoming .js file. We're going to say do this, and we're going to call this upcoming movie and rename this back to upcoming movie, just like that. And also we're going to create one last component here. We're going to be calling it popular movie.js. We're going to say React Native functional component. Close this, and inside of our top rated, we're going to create the next card. But before that, let's just do what we did here. So I'm just going to copy this just before this, paste this. We're going to call this popular movies. We're going to say this is if popular dot length is greater than 0. We don't have it created yet. Just use popular movie and also assign this to be popular. So imagine we don't catch our data, we're not using React query. Every time we reload this or is reloading, it's going to keep fetching our data, and that is not what we really want. And with this, we're not bothered that our data is being called, our API is being called every now and then. So next thing we're going to create is going to be a popular state, and next one is going to be an upcoming state as well. Let's just go ahead and populate the top rated here for now, but let's just import this. It says you can't see it, and that's because this is popular movie and it is not seeing it. What is the issue here? Let's just check if it has been imported. Okay, it has been imported, and although we still need popular movie, we also still have one which is supposed to be, let's check popular movie, and we already have it imported. We don't know why it's not showing. Well, it's not showing because So it's not showing because our popular state is empty. And next thing we're going to do is just duplicate this. What we're going to say is not stop rated loading, but popular loading is going to be popular movies. This is going to be fetch popular movies. Import that. Just delete the movie at the end. And also we're going to set not top rated, but popular data.result and say if there's any issue here, just say popular movies is that. And as you can see, you can see our popular movies already, and that's because it has already fetched our data. And the last thing we have to do is set an upcoming here. So we're going to say is upcoming loading. We're going to say this is going to be upcoming movies, and also fetch upcoming movies, and also set upcoming to data.results. And let's just check our code one last time and see if everything works properly. So all we just have to do is just use the upcoming as well. We're just going to say upcoming movies is going to be upcoming. If upcoming length is greater than 0, then we are going to say use a component of upcoming. And let's just see we have that created already. This is going to be movie. And assign the data here to be of upcoming state, which we have created here. And we're just going to import our upcoming movie component. I should see it in a minute. Now we should not be getting this error because we already imported here. You can see upcoming. Let's just go back to upcoming and change this to upcoming. Save that, and you should see it right away. So all we have to do is just put in these cards and put in the cards and just assign our data to it. And that way we're going to work way much faster instead of creating dummy datas and stuff. So next thing we're going to do is say, head back to what are we going to create first? The popular movie. So the popular movie, inside of this component, we're going to be creating some set of function first. But first, let's just import the basic thing, which is going to be navigation. Use navigation, by the way, from that. And also we're going to say const navigation is going to be that. So after doing this, we're going to say create a function called render item, and the structure something here, say item and index. That is what we are getting. And also we're going to say return something. And what we are going to return is going to be touchable without feedback. And we're going to say the key for this is going to be called index. Also, whenever we press it, it's going to take us to navigation dot push, and inside of this is going to be movie and also item. So we're going to save that. Also, the next thing we're going to do inside of this touchable without feedback is say we want a view to be here, and inside of this view we're going to say class name, and the class name is going to be space of y is 1 and margin right is going to be 4. Save that. And also we're going to be using an image, and inside of this image we're going to have the source, and this source is going to be having a URI image 500. Seems there's a major error here. Let's just remove these two double quotes. And also class name is going to be rounded XL, not XL but 3XL. Also the style is going to be width, and the width is going to be width times 0.3. Also the height is going to be height multiplied by 0.2. After this has been created, let's just put a comma here so that this error disappear. Okay, but we don't have the width imported yet. We're going to say const width and height is coming from dimensions.get.this. We're just going to import that pretty quick. We're going to import these as well. So Next, we are going to do is set the text that sits under each of these cards here. And what we are going to do is say text, and the text class name is going to be text of neutral 300. And after this, we're going to have a margin left of 1, text of large, font of bold. We're going to save that. Then after inside of this text, we're going to be saying if item dot length, item dot title dot length is greater than 12, then you're going to say item dot title if the text we're getting is greater than 12 at 3 dots, else just set it to item dot title, and that's it. And after this, we're going to be using this render item inside a flat list here. And inside of this view, we're going to say class name is equal to space y of 4. Margin bottom is 4 as well. Also, we're also going to have another view here. We're going to say class name is going to be margin horizontal of 4, flex of row, justify of between, items of center. And also we're going to be having a text here, and the class name for the text is going to be text of white, text of large, font of bold. And inside of this text, we're going to be having the title of the text, and it might throw an error here because title doesn't exist. We're just going to destructure that right here by saying title, and also we'll be getting the data as well. So next thing we're going to do is go back to our home screen, and we're going to say title is going to be popular. Save that, and you should see it right away here. So this is going to be capital. Heading back to our popular movie card, we're going to say after this view, we're going to be showing a flat list. And let's just import that right away. Okay, check. It has been imported here. And the reason for using this flat list is in case we have hundreds of popular movies to show, we don't want to show everything at once. And flat list will handle that for us. So the first properties this is going to take is the property of horizontal. So it shows the image in horizontal mode, and data is going to be equal to the data we're bringing in right here. Also, we're going to be saying render item. This is going to be render item function that we created right here. Moving on, we're going to say it says image doesn't exist. We're just going to head back here and import image. And what's the next error is showing here? Okay, so we're just going to remove this text, and so we're just going to continue with the rest of the properties, and we're going to say key extractor is going to be an arrow function. We're going to say index.string, and inside of this we're going to say item and also index. And this to string, it's going to be a method. Save that. And the next property is going to have is show horizontal scroll view to be false. Also content container style is going to be padding. Horizontal is going to be 15. So it seems our movie cinema, our app is crashing here, but we're going to fix that in a minute. There is any error here. It's saying React the children expect to receive a single element child. Okay, it seems the error is right here. We're not supposed to be showing two of these, just single elements here. And we're supposed to just be returning just one single element. And here we say encounter two children with the same key. So let's just go back to where we're having our key extractor here and just have item here. Save that, and the error should disappear. And you can see all our popular movies. And when you scroll, look at this, guys. When you scroll, you see that the card just fits in, and it is until it is on the screen that you can see the image. That is the work of flat list, and it is going to optimize our device, and that is what it does. So the next thing we're going to create is the top rated cards and also the upcoming cards. So we're going to head back to our home screen, and inside of our top rated cards, we're going to start working with this. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure that we destructure our data and make sure that we have our title here as well, and also the genre. We're going to use our genre here, and here we're just going to say const of navigation is going to be use navigation, and we're going to import this from React Navigation Native. And after this, we're going to create the same render item function that we created earlier, and this is going to look like this. And inside of this, we're going to return something, and the return statement, we're going to say it as a touchable without feedback, and also it's going to have a key, and the key is going to be index, and also it is going to have an onPress, and onPress is going to be an arrow function, which is saying navigation dot push to movie and item, just like we have in our popular card. After this, we're going to have a view, and in this view, it's going to say have a class name, and in this class name, we're going to have space y of 1, margin right of 4, margin bottom of 6, and it says Metro and the client are out of sync. Let's just reload our app. Has a lot of logs, so just reload, and that should fix our app. And also, let's continue with our styling here. We're going to say it has an image, and this image, let's just import it before it shouts at us. It's going to have some other things as well, and the first thing it's going to have is the source is going to be coming from URI image 500. Let's just import this right away. And also, we're going to be saying the class name for this is going to be rounded 3XL, also relative. Once that is ready, we're going to move on to the style, and the style is going to be the width is going to be width multiplied by 0.63, and also the height is going to be height multiplied by 0.15. Save that. And underneath these, we're going to have, now as you can see, our width doesn't exist. Let's just bring it in right here. We're going to destructure this and say width is coming from dimensions.get. We're just going to save that like that. And just after this, we're going to have another view. And this view, we have the following properties. Properties of absolute, bottom of 3, left of 3. And the text here is going to say class name, text of neutral of 300, margin left of 1, text of large, font of bold. Then after this, we're going to say if item dot title dot length is greater than 20, then use a ternary operator to set item dot title dot slice to 0 to 20 and add 3 dots if it is, then say item dot title. Moving on, we're going to have another view after this, and this view is going to have a class name of row. Save that, and also a text, and this text is going to say item dot vote underscore average, and also this text is going to have some set of properties, and the first property is going to have is also text neutral of 300, margin left of 1, text of small, font of medium. And also we're going to just say, and when that is done, we're going to copy these as well. We're going to have the same thing here, And also what this is going to be item dot genre and an optional chaining method here, which is of name. Moving on, I think that is all for now. Let's just bring in our flat list here so we can start using this function right here. Let's make sure that everything is set properly. So we're going to have a class name here. And the class name is going to say space y of 4, margin y of 4. Also, we're going to have a view here. And this is going to say mx of 4, flex of row, justify between, also items center. Also, we're going to have a text here just like we have it here. And this text is not going to say top rated movies, but instead it's going to be showing the title. Also, we're going to see class name of text of white, text of large, font of bold. Save that. Then we're going to bring in the main thing, which is our flat list. And inside of this flat list, we're going to say the first property is going to be horizontal. The data is going to be equal to the data. Also, render item is going to be render item function that we created earlier here. As you can see, the image just showed. Look at that, guys. This is our top rated card. And also, moving on, we're going to say key extractor is going to be item then index as parameters index dot to string method. Also, we're going to say show horizontal scroll indicator to be false. Also, content container style is going to be padding horizontal of 15. Save that, and everything should work as expected, as you can see here. So what this error is saying is that our generator that we're using here, we're not passing it properly here. And what we're going to do is say const of item generate. We're going to assign it to generate, and this is what we're going to do. Generate dot find. We're going to say this is G as a property, create an arrow function, say g.id is equal to item dot generate underscore IDs, and also set this to an array of 0. Save that, and this item generate is what we're going to be displaying right here. Not necessarily this, not item dot generate, but item generate, and our code should work now without any issues. To say this error, and that is coming from here. Let's just cut that out and put that right here. So that should fix our code. Said item generate doesn't exist. It does, and I believe our error has been fixed. So once again, let's just check here and change this to flex of row, and that should fix it here. And also after this, let's add a star there so as to see that right there. So next thing we have to do is just work on the upcoming movies and get ahead with that. So inside of our home screen, we're going to be using the same card as the popular. So everything inside of the popular, we're just going to copy everything and head back to our upcoming. And remember that the only thing we're going to change is this upcoming movie. So we're going to put this like this and say this is upcoming movie. Save that, and it works the same way. So go back to your home screen and set the data to upcoming, and this should show in a minute, as you can see here. So the title, it's going to be called upcoming, and as you can see upcoming, and our home screen is 100% ready apart from the linear grid that we're supposed to have here. So as you can see our upcoming movies, you can see the images in a bit, and this is being loaded by flat list. If the component is not on the screen actively, it is not going to show the image, and that is good for performance purposes. So the next thing we're going to create is whenever we select each of these cards, it should take us to the movie screen with the specific movie type. So to get started with that, we're just going to clear all these first. On our home screen, we're going to first check if we're setting our undo click properly. So we have this undo click here, which takes us to the movie screen, and we're making sure that we are assigning it. Check the movie card as well and see if we are doing the same. So we don't need our genre here, and undo click on press. So this should work pretty good. So if we select this, it says the action navigate that whatever name params adults. Do you have a screen named movie? So let's head back to our navigation index and let's see if we have a movie screen. No, we don't. So all we have to do is just copy this, bring this here, call this movie, and also have a movie screen here. Then inside of our screens, we're going to create a movie screen.js. We're going to say React Native functional component. And also, we're going to be going back to our home screen, importing this screen right away. So once that is ready, we're just going to click this and it should take us to the movie screen, as you can see right here. Let's check this as well to see if they will truly work. And also top rated, so they work. And also the last one, it works. So all we have to do is just start this movie screen and we're on to the next task.